Welcome to Behind the Fur. I am Gerald, and this is my handler, Dennis. And today we have a special guest. It is Michael Harrison. He is a ventriloquist who's done many, many events. So tell me, how did you get into puppetry?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be here with you on this high tech presentation. uh, I started puppetry when I was a kid. I actually got into magic first. I saw a commercial for a magic kit on TV, so I pleaded with my parents to get it for me. And they did, which shocked me because it wasn't my birthday, it wasn't Christmas. Out of the blue, they gave me this magic kit, which I loved because I was a shy kid and learning the magic and then presenting it for family and friends and anybody who came over to our house. Sort of helped me kind of come out of my shell as a shy kid. I'm still a bit introverted, but I find that performing gives you a tool sort of to come out in front and present yourself um, uh, slightly hiding behind what you do. But to me, it didn't matter. It was a tool, and it worked for me. After I learned the magic, I wanted to pick up anything else I could in the world of entertainment. So I bought a book on juggling. I learned the basics of juggling. I bought a unicycle, learned how to ride a unicycle. Bought a ventriloquism book, took mime classes. I was the master of useless skills, as they say. And then I sort of started to focus mainly on ventriloquism and puppetry. And that's sort of the path that I took. I still occasionally will delve into magic a little bit. I've always been a fan of magic. Don't ride the unicycle anymore. I don't put on clown makeup anymore. I don't juggle anymore. I don't do mime anymore. But the ventriloquism stuck, and I guess that was how many years ago? 30 something years ago, and I've been at it ever since.
Wow, that's incredible. Um, how did you think of the inspiration of JJ?
Oh, I kind of always wanted kind of a bit of a country bumpkin type character, someone who's a little silly and maybe a little bit, got a little bit of a drawl and, could kind of sort of act the part of being a bit of a dummy, but he wasn't really a dummy because he always sort of had the upper hand on me. So it was a great way for the puppet to play dumb but not actually act dumb, and so he always wins the arguments, and he's always one step ahead of me, which I like. I like the comic timing in that when the puppet is ahead of the ventriloquist or the puppeteer, and that's JJ. And as you can see, there he is, right there. There's JJ in all his glory.
Have you ever built a puppet?
Um, Personally, I have not built a puppet. It has always been on my list of things to do. I wanted to start my own little workshop, my own little studio, create my own puppets. But to be 100% honest with you, I've been so busy performing that I've never had time to do it. So I keep saying I'm going to, and I will when I slow down performing a bit and being away. Because with my contracts that I've had in the past, it's usually meant that I'm away to perform, away from home. So never had enough downtime to create a studio and then start actually learning to do it. I have a lot of friends who do it, and I think it will happen eventually, but not yet.
I've actually been making puppets. I haven't made Gerald over here. Yeah, he had to buy me. Like, I will say this: it can be fun, but it can be very, very exhausting.
All right, a little frustrating sometimes.
Yes, it is. Like sometimes your stitches come out and you want to scream.
I will say this. I just thinking about this. I did make a puppet once. Forgot all about this. So I'm from Canada. I live in Canada, and if you're familiar with iconic symbols of Canada, one is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is the policeman in the red jacket and the hat, and always riding a horse. So I was working fairs a long time ago, and I thought I want to do a walk around type puppet. So I found a secondhand RCMP police uniform, the red tunic, and all the leather gear with it, and the boots, the riding boots, and the hat. And I built a gigantic other iconic Canadian icon is the Canada Goose. So I built a 7 or 8 foot tall Canada Goose and I had the fake legs for the RCMP member. So I rode the Canada Goose instead of a horse. Now I'd ride that around fairs. So I did build that. That was all from foam with a PVC skeleton inside. That was my first attempt at puppetry, and I happened to take on a 7 foot puppet. So it was a bit challenging. So I know what you're saying when it can be frustrating and challenging at the same time.
Yes. Did you I saw a video of yours where you walked away and JJ started talking? What was the behind the scene mechanics for it?
Okay, well, I give all the credit to that to my good friend Jamie, goes by Damian James, puppet builder. You've seen him on America's Got Talent, on Britain's Got Talent. He did Fool Us with Penn and Teller. He's a brilliant puppet builder and mechanical engineer. So I asked him if he could take a puppet that already existed, JJ, and retrofit it for some mechanics, remote control mechanics, so that he could come to life without the use of me. So that's what Jamie did. It was a tough build for him because it's always easier to build the mechanics first and build the puppet to go around it. So he had to do it in reverse. He had to build the mechanics to go inside a puppet that already existed. So I got to give him credit. He did an excellent job with the task that I gave him, and it gets a great reaction. It's fun for me to leave the stage and leave the puppet out there and then let him take over. It's a great moment when he's sitting still and the audience doesn't know what's going to happen, and then that first movement and the first voice that comes out of him. I mean, crowd jumps back. I hear gasps from backstage. It's a fun little bit. I love doing it. I know I'm not the creator of it. I'm not the first one to do it. I don't take credit for it. It's just a great idea for puppetry. And why would you not do it if you had the resources and talented people like Damian James to build these things for you?
Yes, that's one of my favorite videos of yours. What was your favorite fan interaction?
Oh, well, actually, speaking of Jamie, he built me another great prop. For years, I've done the human puppet routine with the mask, which seems like everybody's doing these days, and I don't blame them. It's a great bit. But I like the idea, and this was before JJ came to life on his own. I like the idea of possibly having the human puppet come to life on his own. So I had Jamie create one of the masks, but it was all electronic. There's electronics built into it, and it allowed me to walk away, go backstage, and I always put the mask on a child from the audience. I don't do it with an adult, but with a child I do. And allowed me to go backstage and start the routine with him on his own, out on the middle of the stage, talking to the audience until I return, and then we carry on a conversation, and I'm still 6 feet away from him. It's a great visual illusion. It just adds something to a routine that's already a great routine, which I've been doing for years and years and years and years. And one of my favorite bits actually in the show is the remote puppet routine with the kid. And again, thank you, Damian James. You built a great prop for the show.
Man, I'd like to try that one day.
It is awesome. The freedom of walking away from the puppet is great.
No, it's not. My question for you is, what is your favorite Muppet movie?
Oh, my favorite Muppet. Oh, gotta be Muppets Treasure Island. Yeah.
Is that the one with I hope I'm saying the actor's name right. Tim Curry, right? He played
Tim Curry. You nailed it. That's it. A great actor and a great movie. Yeah, I love them all. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but I think that one is my favorite. I also love Muppet in 3D and Disney World in Florida. If you ever had a chance to go to that, it's been there for years. Yeah, I still go to it every time I go there. It's a funny little 20-minute movie / live set / mechanical puppets / everything. It's got it all in that movie.
Yes, it does. It's very, very amazing. What's your favorite Muppet song?
Oh, it has to be Over the Rainbow. Yeah. Rainbow Connection. Yeah, in fact, I do a little bit in my show, Rainbow Connection, Kermit the Frog. I don't know if you see my Anaconda. Oh, there she is. There's Anaconda. Anaconda is my own creation. I did not build her, but I designed her. I had an artist do an artist rendering of her, and then I had a puppet builder build it. It's a beautiful puppet. It's over 25 feet long if you unraveled her coils that are wrapped around me. And At one point in the show, I think you can see this in a video on my webpage or on my YouTube channel. She claims that she's got a sore throat, and I said, "What's the matter?" She goes, "I don't know, but I think I got a frog in my throat. Listen." And she opens up her mouth, and you can hear Kermit the Frog singing from deep inside her stomach, singing "Rainbow Connection." So I guess I'd have to say, definitely have to say, "Rainbow Connection" is my favorite Muppet song.
That's hilarious. What's the mechanics behind Andakana?
Oh, she's really basic actually. She's basically a hand puppet. Most of I call it a costume, which wraps around the body. That's actually, it comes in two pieces. There's the head and neck, and then there's all her coils and her tail and my fake hands that are hanging down. So she's basically this. There is a mechanism right here to blink her eyelids, but I just find it in an awkward location and it doesn't work too well for me. So I had a builder add a cable, and it's your basic brake cable for a bicycle. Go from her eyes down through the back of her head, down her neck. Sorry, this is in reverse. Down her neck, around my back, and one of my arms is behind my back, and there's a brake, a bicycle brake attached to a dowling, which is attached to her tail. Sounds more complicated than it is. So with one hand, I can wag her tail like a dog and squeeze the mechanism, the bike brake, which blinks her eyes. So that's as technical as she gets, is her blinkers. The rest is just a wagging tail and just a hand shoved inside her head. It's the head is massive. It's about 2 or 3 times the size of my head. It looks like it'd be really heavy, but it's not. It's made out of great foam, very sturdy foam material. And again, had a very talented puppet builder build that for me, and built it beautifully, exactly as the artist created the illustration. So that's Anaconda. She's one of my favorites, but the toughest to travel with because she comes in 2 big hard cases and takes up a lot of room and a lot of extra costs when you're flying with her. But she's worth it because she's quite striking when you see her on stage.
It looks like an amazing puppet.
She is beautiful. I get comments on her all the time. People can't get over what a great looking puppet is. She's so bright and vivid in her color. And just the size and her color and her big tooth and her big eyes. She really pops when I walk on stage. When I'm doing my family shows, if we can get the snake there at a reasonable cost, she's usually the first puppet in the show because it grabs the audience's attention right from the get-go.
Wow. What do you do when things go wrong?
Oh, you go with the flow every time. At the beginning, when I was doing this, if things went wrong, of course, I'd panic because that's not what's supposed to happen in a show. But then I learned that if the audience doesn't know, you can cover it up well enough or play it up like it's part of the act. They'll generally not ever get that something went wrong. So I just say, go with the flow, play along, pretend like it happened, it's supposed to happen. And usually, most of the time, the audience is unaware. Once in a while, you're just busted if a prop falls apart or something secretive appears on the stage that's not supposed to be seen, which spoils the illusion, which has happened before. Sometimes you just can't get out of it. So I used to have one line. If I couldn't hide the fact that I'd messed up or something had messed up, I used to say, this is back when I was doing a lot of magic in my show. I used to say, let's take a moment of silence for the trick that just died. All right, and moving on. And that's all I did. So I always had that ready to go, or I could say for the routine that just died. And then and at least it would get a laugh and the people would be on your side, like, oh, well, sometimes things go wrong. You can't help it. Usually the thing that drives me crazy the most is usually audio issues. I think 9 times out of 10, if you're going to have a problem in a show, it's going to be audio issues, whether it's pre-recorded music or your microphone. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does, that's generally what it is. It's going to be a mechanical issue with audio problems, video problems. I use video in the show on the screens and have some audio tricks and things, and I always wear a headset mic. So I'm always got my fingers crossed a headset mic is going to make it through another show. They're pretty durable, they usually do, but eventually they break down, and usually you find out when you're in the middle of a show. So
Oh yes, it's very hard. Like I don't have a microphone set yet, but I performed in Roanoke, Virginia at a taco stand, and it was very, very hard because there was a band performing right
Ah,
next to me, and I had to
yes.
scream until I was couldn't talk.
I will say my advice to anyone who's getting into puppetry as a profession where you're actually getting paid to do it, save your money and invest in a good microphone and a good PA system, and you will never regret the day you buy that. It will save your bacon so many times. I remember when I first started doing the fair circuit years ago, I used to have a 25-foot mobile stage that I'd tow behind my vehicle. It was all custom built. The side would come down. That would be the staging. I'd have backdrops and dressing rooms and built-in PA system and flags on the top. It was quite beautiful. I toured all the fairs with that. Um, where I went off topic. What were we talking about? Oh yes, PA systems. But the first fair I ever did with this, my big, beautiful mobile stage, I was very excited and very proud. They parked me right beside the zipper. You know what the zipper is?
No.
Okay, so the midway ride is a zipper that you lock into a cage and you spin around this giant thing.
Oh.
Well, everybody screams and they always got the music going and it's just loud when it turns. I was right beside it. So even with a microphone and a good PA system, people had trouble hearing me. So I couldn't imagine trying to do it without a microphone. Especially ventriloquism, you're putting so much strain and stress on your vocal cords in the first place. You don't also want to struggle with enunciation and projection. Well, projection more than anything. But if you're having to project, well, that's going to affect your enunciation, which is going to affect your vocal cords, which is going to kill your voice before you get halfway through a show. So, number one, most important, good PA system, reliable microphones. You can never go wrong.
Yes, I totally agree with you. What was your first step in trying to ventriloquist?
That's going way back now. Let me think. I guess it was just practicing the alphabet. Um, in fact, I do when I'm working on Disney Cruise Line, I do a ventriloquism workshop. So most of the kids and adults that come to the workshop, most of them have never even tried it before. So the first thing I start with is just mouth position, lip position, teeth, finding a voice that's comfortable without straining your vocal cords. And then I say, let's just start with something basic. Let's just start with the alphabet, and we'll just go through the alphabet together. And people realize, oh, actually, most of the letters are pretty easy to say without moving your lips. And of course, they always hit the 5 difficult letters. So we go back and we work on each of the 5 difficult letters, and I teach them the technique for each of those. And then really after that, it just becomes practice, 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 looking in a mirror, and can never practice enough. So I think basically I start with positioning of the mouth, lips, teeth, voice, and then just start with something as simple as the alphabet and just do it over and over again. And then I would just say, like for most kids, just get a book and just read the book as a ventriloquist would read it. Try not to move your lips. Eventually, you'll get the hang of it. Don't give up, because most people do. It's a long learning curve to become really good at ventriloquism. But don't give up. Anybody can do it. It just takes persistence, time, and practice.
I gotta say, you are very, very amazing at it. I tried to do it once and I just could not do it.
Well, like I say, like I tell everybody, nobody's born to be a ventriloquist. There's nothing special about my vocal cords or my voice or anything. It's just a matter of being persistent and not giving up. It does get very frustrating. A lot of people just say, I'm never going to get this. And then they just quit. But if you don't say that, you will get it. I promise you, everybody will eventually get it and figure it out. And I do find that once you start using a good microphone, you don't have to worry about the projection as much, which makes the enunciation a lot easier to focus on. Because there's no strain or stress on your vocal cords when you have a good microphone. You're really just speaking at a regular tone or regular volume, rather than having to really belt it out, because that'll kill your throat in minutes. And believe me, it's happened to me. I also use a good monitor, so I want to be able to hear my voice in a good monitor when I'm doing my shows. Again, if I don't have that monitor, if I can't hear myself, I'll start stressing my vocal cords, and I won't make it to the end of a 45-minute show, without the voices starting to change.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Um, What is your favorite act you've done?
My favorite act that I've done, mean my like routine or character?
Routine.
Routine. Oh, okay. It's probably a tie with everything I do in my show. The Anaconda, the snake, the remote control JJ, wherever he is. There he is. There he is. There he is. My tennis ball, my tennis racket. I do a drawing pad that comes to life. I do a crying baby. I do the human puppet. I usually finish either family shows or adult shows with the human puppet. If I'm doing a corporate event, it's always a man. If I'm doing a family event, it's always a child. Um, I usually like to throw one magic trick in my shows too, just because I have a love of magic and I've been doing it for so long. But with magic, it's not so much about the magic trick. It's more about the interaction with audience members, the presentation, the jokes. The trick is sort of primary or secondary to the actual routine. But I don't think I have a favorite. I love everything I do in my act. If I didn't love doing it, it wouldn't be in my act. So there's a roundabout answer to your question.
Yeah. Um, One last question. How did you ventriloquist one of your guests?
How did I ventriloquist one of my guests?
Yes.
I don't know if I understand the question.
I saw a video of you having one of an audience member participating where you were behind their back and
Yeah.
as they were lip singing your
Oh, okay.
speech.
Yeah, was it a gentleman, a man?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So if I'm doing a corporate event, usually it's corporate events, like adult only audiences. For that human puppet routine, I'll always bring the gentleman onto the stage, and really the setup. You don't see it in the video, but when I'm performing it, you see the setup. I just tell him that I'm going to put my hand on the back of his neck whenever I squeeze. Open and close your mouth. That's all you got to. That's all you got to worry about. Don't worry about the questions. Don't worry about a voice. Don't worry about anything. Just wait for the squeeze. Open the mouth. And oddly enough, 99% of the time, they cooperate really well and they open exactly when I need them to open it. And they close exactly I need them to close it. I usually will give them a kind of a high pitched voice just to make it funnier. And JJ's always with me in that routine. He's throwing in his 2 bits through the whole routine. Yeah, and usually making fun of the guy. But the people are always great. The funnest that I have is when I'm doing that routine and the human puppet guy who I'm squeezing his neck, he's laughing at the jokes that he's actually saying. I'm making him say them, as much as the audience is. And then he's trying to control it and he's trying to keep it together, which makes it extra funny. So yeah, that's the human puppet with an adult. I also do that, as I mentioned earlier, with a child, but that's with the mask, with the remote control mask, which just gives it a different element. But they're both very similar routines, great response. Audience love it when there's an audience member involved in the show, and they end up becoming the star. So it's a win-win.
Wow, that sounds very amazing. I hope one day to see one of your shows.
I hope so too. I'm touring and traveling all the time. I do a lot of cruise ships, do a lot of fairs, do a lot of festivals, some performing arts centers as well. So watch for me. Watch for my show, Ventastic. That's the name of my show. It's Fantastic Ventriloquism. It's fantastic. And hopefully I'll be coming to a theater, stage, fair, or event near you at some point.
I hope so too. This has been Behind the Fur. See you soon, everyone.
Ciao.